going on? How you doing? Good, good. For sure. I'm always excited to go back to Jersey. Mhm. Um, just keep honing in on the techniques and fundamentals. Try to limit the missed assignments, mental errors, and keep getting my football conditioning up. Um, it's the more snaps you play in the games, that's I feel that's kind of how you build that conditioning. Practice, you can build it, but it's hard to simulate a 10, 12 play drive in practice unless you're doing that. And we do that sometimes, but the game you never know what you're gonna get. So try to be in the best possible, football condition I could be. That's my main thing.
Jabrill, it seems like you've emerged again as a leader on defense. Last year, you had your issue, no reason to get into it. But what did it take to get from there to being a leader?
I just being myself. That's the only thing I know how to do. It's got me, where I'm at. It's been good for me. So just try to be the same guy every day. Try to lead by example, first, voice second, and everything else will follow after that.
What's the message for the third preseason game for everybody?
Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Do your job the way you're supposed to do it every time you have to do it. The game plans be pretty simple and vanilla, so shouldn't be too many missed assignments or mental errors. And just remember, this tape goes out to all 31 teams. It's no secret. We can't keep everybody, but how you represent yourself on that field is, what's going to be the key to your destination.
You pride yourself on being a very physical player, so I have to ask. Mike Vrabel has now jumped in 2 fights with you guys during joints on separate occasions.
Yeah.
What was it like to see your coach getting involved? And even the Commanders one coming up with a little bit of streak of blood on it.
Now that one, I'll give him credit for that one. I don't know about this one. I don't know if he really jumped in there with the intent to do anything. I got to check the tape on that. But, it's cool. It's definitely good to see, your coach willing to get down and dirty with you. Not just, telling you what to do, but, also getting in there and, pulling the weight with you. So, I think that's always good for a team.
How productive a week was last week for the defense, just because of the good day, bad day, and then the game and going against one of the best?
Definitely productive. Going up against a new scheme, that forces you to have, great leverage, great eye discipline, phenomenal players over there. Good young quarterback with a hell of an arm on him. It's always good to see how you match up against, other good players in this league, not just the guys you know what their go-to move is, the scheme. We've been practicing since week 4 camp now, so any good player start to pick up tendencies and things like that. So when you don't know, wasn't really a game plan aspect of it either. Just kind of showed us a brief overview and just see how we reacted out there. So I definitely think it was good for a team as a whole.
You were impressed by McCarthy's understrength?
I was impressed with him. That's a Michigan guy now, so. But no, I was definitely impressed. His decision making, his poise back there. Now, granted, we couldn't touch him, but his poise back there. He showed a little wheels, on a couple plays as well. So I'm excited to see him.
There's been a lot of talk about your scheme on offense. Has it been a big adjustment on defense? How new is this scheme?
I'm not really gonna get into schematics or anything like that, but it definitely forces you to play everything honest. Can't really guess on anything. You can try to pick up on tendencies, but there's some tendency breakers in there as well. So it just forces you to, stay on your toes, forces you to communicate and, play team defense.
When you see a guy like Kyle Duggar, coming back from injury and seeming to kind of fall down the depth chart a little bit, do you feel compelled at all to kind of help him up, keep his head in the game?
Yeah, that's my dog. He understands. It's his process. He's coming back from the ankle injury, but. He's going to do what he has to do. I'm not worried about Doug.
Bro, you've got a rookie in your room, Craig Woods, who's getting some good opportunities. What's he done to take advantage of those?
Just doing what he's asked to do. Being around the ball, great tackler, good practice habits. He's, soaking up the playbook very well. So, I'm excited for him. We all still have a long way to go to, continue learning and gelling with each other. But he in particular, he's done a real good job.
Where is he from Jalen?
I'm sorry.
Where is he from Jalen?
Same thing, Hawk's on be Hawk. He came in there last year and, did what he had to do. Big part of defense for us, big part of special teams for us. Smart, play hard, works hard. So I enjoy playing with all those guys, man. We just need to, gel a little bit better together, iron out the finite details of things so, we can, start playing off of one another without even really have to, communicate.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Okay.
About gelling and what he did
did in Minnesota,
Mhm.
taking away what you learned,
Mhm.
now investing in it these next few weeks,
Mhm.
what do you have to do as a defense to gel?
Just communicate a little better. Make sure we're all on the same page with the minute details. Just so the communication goes a little faster. And just remember to keep our ears open. Got a lot of guys be locked in. Stuff can change with emotion or a shift here. But I think we have 20 days. I definitely think we're iron everything out and be where we need to be. But you definitely have to stay on our job, stay in the film room, stay on the details, and I think we'll end up where we need to be.
As a team,
Jabrill,
how do
covering
you
tight ends and
keep,
covering tight ends and running backs, of course, for the safeties is pretty standard. But when it comes to covering wide receivers, how does your mentality and your approach have to change?
There's just smaller, quicker, faster bodies, so the technique has to change up a little bit. But it's all a mindset. Just go out there, be competitive, trust your technique, play your leverage, and let your competitive instinct take over.
how do you keep the
Last question.
Efton Chisholm hype in line? How do you keep the line, everything you do?
I love Chiz, man. He's done nothing but come in here and do everything he's asked to do. Plays multiple spots. I only seen him drop a pass maybe once, in all the camp. But the hype is just the hype. You got to keep going out there and proving it. He knows that. He knows what's stacked up against him, and I think he's done an excellent job coming in here and working to earn his role.
Thanks, Jabrill.
Thank you, Jabrill.
All right. How'd it go last week playing a little bit of left guard?
It was fun, to be able to play another position other than center. It was fun. I think still have some things to work on, technique-wise and assignment-wise and everything, but it was nice to be able to get those reps.
What is the biggest difference for you moving from center to guard?
I'd say the footwork is a little bit different, and just the movement is a little bit different as well, as opposed to center. So everything's just slightly different, but I was very grateful to get the reps.
How do you get used to not having a snap when you're playing?
It's a little different, I guess. But I played guard a lot in college, so it's not something that's completely new to me. So just doing whatever I can to help out,
You still got some muscle memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a lot of shuffling going on in there, at least from what we've seen so far. How do you think you and the rest of the guys up front are handling?
Good. That's something that's not, in our control. And, every day we just have to go out there and do our job. That's the most important thing. Am I doing what I can to contribute to this football team? So that's what we're all focusing on right now.
What stood out to you about Jared?
I'm sorry?
About Jared Wilson.
What about him?
What stood out to you?
He's just very smart. He's very strong. He's very athletic. He's fast too. He's got all the traits that you would look for in an offensive lineman. So he's a great player.
Is it exciting that things aren't quite settled yet? Training camp's all about opportunity.
It's been great to be able to have plenty of opportunity and to just go out there and compete and help this football team however we can. So.
What's the most important thing for you to get down between now and the start of the regular season? Last preseason game is literally right around the corner. You only have a couple more practices. What's the most important thing for you to focus on between now and September 2nd?
I think for me, the biggest thing is just consistency. So just being consistent with my technique, being consistent with my assignment, and just constantly stacking good plays and good days, I think is the biggest thing for me to focus on.
Hey, Ben, how would you describe the value of this past offseason for you? So much movement early in your career, to be able to finish the season and play as much as you did here, but then go through the offseason and then prepare for this training camp.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I thought our offseason went very smoothly. I felt very prepared going into training camp with the playbook and terminology and everything. So I thought it was perfect to be able to have a full off season going into training camp, a little more comfortable, So
What has it been like for you working with a guy like Garrett?
Garrett's been great. Garrett's just been playing a long time at a high level, and he's a great player, but he's also a great friend too, and he's someone who I can rely on and I can ask questions about, football or life related. So it's been great having Garrett in the line room.
How helpful has it been to work with not just Jabrill, but multiple offensive linemen?
Yeah, very helpful. Having multiple different minds in that room. More knowledge is always better, and I think every one of them all provides a great perspective on offensive line play, and all our O-line coaches are very knowledgeable and have had a lot of experience. And being able to have coaches like that just gives you confidence as a player, that you're getting coached hard, but you're getting, just great coaching. So.
Ben, what are you seeing from Will Campbell just lining up next to him, in the game?
Say what?
What are you seeing from Will Campbell just lining up next to him occasionally?
Will is he's been doing great, man. He's been doing phenomenal. He's had a great camp. He's played very hard and very well in these preseason games. And it's funny, too, because he grew up in Monroe, Louisiana, which is actually just an hour from Vicksburg, Mississippi, where I'm from. Okay. So we've been able to make a couple connections there. So that's been fun. But Will's been phenomenal, though. It's been awesome being able to play beside him.
Talking about really the offseason, the experience that you've been able to kind of glean this offseason, I can't help but think back to when you got here last year. You were literally, 72 hours, I think, between you were in the Raiders locker room and then you were working with Drake. Do you ever think about kind of how far you've come and how almost absurd the career arc that you had here,
Maybe more like in the off season I did when I had some time to collect my thoughts. Just so extremely blessed to be able to have that opportunity, because not a lot of people are able to have an opportunity like I had last year. So, that was a huge blessing to be able to take advantage of that. But, that's the past, and now I've got to prove myself here every day and, show my value to this football team.
I just have a question going back to the different assistant coaches. The duties, do they all work with guys on a tackle and interior, or how does, I'm curious if you work extra with any one of the three?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all kind of work with all the O-line coaches, if that makes sense. Like sometimes Coach Marone will have the centers and guards, and sometimes he'll just have the tackles, So we get coached by all three of them. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you,
all right.
Ben.
Yeah, thank y'all. Appreciate it.
How you doing, man? Yeah.
Good. How are you? I think it's been a lot. I think just learning a lot. Everything's new, so it's kind of just taking it day by day. And like talking to Dobbs today, it's like a lot of unknown. So you got to be good at performing or kind of just being able to be comfortable with the unknown.
First two games under your belt, how much are you looking forward to a little more playing time even coming up on Thursday night?
Yeah, I think first two were solid. I think there's always things to improve on, and then whatever plan we have moving forward, I'll be ready.
What's it been like learning from Josh McDaniels this offseason?
It's been awesome. I think his scheme and what he knows and what he does on offense is second to none. And I think he has such a high standard for how he wants things done that it's very fitting and very suiting for what we do.
And what makes you say that? What makes this scheme second to none, in your opinion?
Just the details. And then obviously when it's clicking, it's clicking. I think as y'all probably seen. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is just when you get the details and when it clicks, it's hard to stop.
How would you be able to go from practices with very limited reps or in the joint practices with maybe no reps in competitive periods, and then you got to play essentially an entire half?
Yeah.
How were you able to do that? Can you describe the challenge and all of that?
Yeah, I think it is a challenge, but I don't think it's unheard of. I think getting a rep, like the way I go about it is mental reps is, I'm back there going through the rep. The only thing I'm not doing is actually throwing the pass. So, getting the rep or not getting the rep, I'm still getting it. So, yeah, that's how I kind of go about it.
Ask about one play the other night. There was pressure coming from your front. You got it off to the left side. Took a pretty good hit on the play. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Third down.
Okay. To who? Okay. On the left side? Yeah. I think they brought a corner pressure. Is that what it was? Yeah.
So the toughness to stand in there, deliver the throw.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Shoot, that comes with the position. I mean, the 5 dudes up front block their butts off every play. They're hitting heads every play. The least I could do is take a hit from a corner, right? And that's not anything like that, but it's just, it comes with the position, toughness, mental toughness. It comes with the position, and it comes with playing this game. And I think it all starts with our head coach, Vrabel, like shows that every day, and has been instilling that in us.
How about for you personally?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Your life?
Yeah. Shoot, I've said this all along since I started playing football. It comes from my mom. Growing up with my mom and 2 older brothers, just looking to her for everything that I do and learning everything from her. She instilled toughness, mental toughness, grit, everything, all of the above in all of us, in all 3 boys. So, I mean, I'd be doing a disservice to her by not being tough and being able to take hits and play the game the right way.
Some of the things that Upton's done to nail down the offense, coming in early, staying late with Matt Collins. Are you doing anything specific to try to put in extra work to get on the offense?
Sorry, the first part?
Yeah, just that we heard that Upton,
Yeah.
Chisholm is coming in early, working with Todd Downing, staying late with Matt Collins.
Yeah.
What's been your process to learn and nail down the offense?
Yeah, I've always been in here early. I'm big on getting in here early, watching film, meet with Coach AG every morning. He's in the quarterback room. And I think just finding new ways to go about things, right? Talking to Mac or guys like that who have experience in this offense. So, yeah, just finding every little bit you can.
When you first got signed to now here, where's your confidence level? What's it been like going through this? And how much in your mind is saying, yeah, I want to be, I think I can be an NFL quarterback?
Yeah, I think just being able to get out there and play and be with the guys helps the confidence. I think the more reps or kind of the more opportunities you get and capitalize on that, it builds the confidence. But yeah.
Was it difficult?
Final question, guys. Final question.
Was it difficult going in last week after you didn't really get any opportunities during your joint practices? And how do you kind of make up for those lost reps and keep yourself on track?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's difficult, and I think you asked it earlier, right? Is just being able to get a rep while you're maybe not in there physically getting the rep is doing the mental rep behind, where it's going through the footwork, throwing the ball, but I'm actually not throwing the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you get a rep like that. So that's one rep. Then you go in the meeting, you get another rep while we're going over the corrections and going over the practice film. So there's 2 reps that I wasn't scheduled to have, but I got. So that's kind of how I go about it. And the compound effect is little things day by day ultimately add up to big things, and hopefully it does.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.